Too many people associate retirement with the end.
I figure it'll be a little bit of a transition to try to slow down a little bit.
The number one question I have about retirement is having enough money to last.
In my mind, you start to look at it, that's an opportunity to do more of the things you want when you want to do it.
Make it financially able to do things that I enjoy.
Party.
Just financial security and enjoy my family.
More people need to go into it with their eyes wide open, understanding what is my plan, what do I want to do, and then how am I going to get there?
Will the rules change?
I have no real specific plan.
I'm planning for what the status is right now. I just hope it doesn't change drastically.
Welcome to the Retire-tastic Show with Joanne Regan, powered by the Retirement Income Store and brought to you by Financial Security Group of Arizona. In retirement, it's all about income. And today, you'll hear ideas, concepts, and strategies designed specifically to generate reliable retirement income. Now, here's the host of the Retire-tastic Show, Joanne Regan.
Hello, everyone. Imagine that you wanted to build your dream home. Would you just start with digging a hole, have a bunch of random lumber, plumbing, and concrete all delivered to your site, and then hope for the best? Of course you wouldn't. You would spend a lot of time preparing and getting everything right. First, you might have plans drawn up. Then you would develop a budget. At least I hope you would. And then you'd want to get permits and hire the best contractors you can find. And then, and only then, would you start to build your dream home. So right about now, you're probably thinking, I thought this was a retirement planning show, and what does building your dream home have to do with retirement? Well, it actually has quite a bit to do with retirement. And today, you're going to find out why. So I'm Joanne Regan, your host, and welcome to the Retire-tastic Show, where my goal is to help you have a fantastic retirement. And thanks for tuning in. So you see, planning that dream home is very similar to planning how you're going to spend your investments during your retirement. Do it the wrong way, and your financial house might collapse, and with it, your financial goals and dreams. So you have to have a plan, and you have to make sure you get it right. And here are some of the things that are foundational that you really need to consider. I talk about this a lot. I often say that every single retirement situation is a little tiny bit different, and that is the case here. There isn't a cookie cutter that makes it perfect for every single person. But you have to make sure that you look at all the pieces. You look at the different investment buckets that you have as you plan for and navigate through and into your retirement, because what happens? Things change all the time. So what are the different things that you need to consider at different stages and for different financial needs? And how do those needs impact which financial bucket the money comes from? These are some of the questions that I'm going to answer for you on today's show. And I often wonder why people tend to spend more time planning vacation than they do planning retirement. Have you ever noticed that? If you plan retirement the wrong way or you don't plan at all, you could be in for a world of hurt. And when you leave your job, you're stuck. You can stick your thumb up in the air and say, well, this ought to work pretty well, and then we'll figure it out from there. And that is a very, very dangerous way to go. I think most of you will agree that if you tried to build your dream home that way, you would end up wasting a ton of money, a lot of time, and you actually may not even get your house built. So one of the questions that I get asked quite frequently is, how do I know which account I should take money from when I need it? Well, where you take the money from actually depends on your goals. And there are several things that you have to take into consideration. One of the things is purpose. What is the purpose of that money? Is it for short-term everyday spending, or is it emergency money? Or is it for projects or dreams or goals, such as that trip or that African safari that you always dreamed about? So I am a huge, huge proponent of making sure that you have a good emergency fund prepared for unexpected expenses. You might need a new roof. You might need a new car. You might need to replace your air conditioning. And like Edna Mode from the great movie The Incredibles once said,
"Darling, luck favors the prepared."
That's right. Luck favors the prepared. So you want to be prepared. So make sure that you have that emergency fund. And the definition of an emergency fund is going to be different from when you're retired than what it was when you were working. So is the purpose of that money for emergencies, or is it for more long-term goals, like helping to fund education for your grandchildren, or maybe some trips that you would like to go on? Purpose is a critical aspect of determining where that money is actually going to come from. And of course, you always want to look at tax efficiency as well. As an IRS enrolled agent myself, we are constantly looking at long-term tax planning because this requires some work, just like building that dream home or going on a successful vacation. So take a look at the different types of buckets of money or finances that you have. And what are the different types? What are the different types of buckets that actually exist, or the different amounts of money that you have? Well, first, you have taxable money, you have tax-deferred money, and you have tax-free money. And just like that dream home, you have to plan and prioritize your various investment buckets to make sure that they are going to last you 20 or 30 years into retirement. Now, nobody knows for sure how long you're going to be living, but I always say it's better to plan for 30 years and only live 20 than to plan for 20 and live 30. Nothing could be worse than that situation. So you may be wondering, how can you increase the confidence that your retirement strategy is going to be the one that supports your goals? Well, I have something that I want to put in your hands absolutely free. I've put together our financial success kit, which includes a copy of Michael Eastman's book called Common Sense Income Strategies, plus 2 of our most popular reports, Reset Your Retirement and the Income Generation Report. And I've created this specifically to help you understand how to prepare for retirement, and I want you to have it absolutely free. And this is going to go out to the first 5 listeners who reach out to the show at 1-800-FSG-7890. Again, that's 1-800-FSG-7890, and ask for your free financial success kit so I can get that right out to you. Again, 1-800-FSG-7890. You can also check out my website at yourfsg.com. Again, that's yourfsg.com. So the rule of thumb that people think about is I want to spend my taxable account first, and then I want to spend my tax-deferred accounts, and then I want to spend my tax-free accounts. Well, sometimes the rule of thumb is not always the best solution. You actually need to take a common sense departure from that textbook. For example, it may make sense in your situation to consider a Roth conversion, either a full Roth conversion or a partial conversion. But again, that is something you need to plan for. You don't want to get into retirement and say, I'm going to convert some of my money to a Roth IRA because I heard that's the best thing to do. That is a big red light going off. And you don't want to make that mistake because it could cost you tens of thousands of dollars in taxes. When we come back from the break, we're going to talk a little bit more about some options that exist for you. I have a couple of great examples that I think will help you to solidify this information when we come back with more of the Retire-tastic Show. Stay right there, and we'll be right back.
The Retire-tastic Show with Joanne Regan airs Saturday afternoons at 1 and Sunday mornings at 8:30. You're listening to the Retire-tastic Show with Joanne Regan, powered by the Retirement Income Store.
Would you like to know how you can tell if an advisor specializes in individual income-producing instruments versus an advisor who uses a combination of stock market and growth-oriented vehicles? Because if they specialize in the latter, they're more likely to invest your retirement accounts into bond mutual funds rather than individual bonds and bond-like instruments. Why is this important? Because when an investor buys an individual bond, they're guaranteed a fixed rate of interest for the life of the bond. And when the bond matures, they're guaranteed their principal back, assuming there has been no defaults. With that assumption, an investor knows exactly what they're going to earn on the bond that they hold to maturity. Bond mutual funds don't pay a fixed rate of interest. As a matter of fact, the interest that they pay fluctuates. Also, bond mutual funds don't have a maturity date. They will go on forever or until you liquidate them. So bond mutual funds can be a lot riskier than individual bonds. Most people in or near retirement who have saved their hard-earned money over a longer period of time are better suited to invest in a portfolio of individual fixed income securities for the purposes of safety and steady income. If you would like to learn more about whether individual fixed income securities are right for you, give us a call.
To speak with Joanne off the air, call 800-FSG-7890. That's 800-FSG-7890. Or visit us online at yourfsg.com.
Investing in the stock market these days is like riding a roller coaster. 1 minute you're moving up slow and steady just the way you like it, and then all of a sudden, your investment portfolio is in a free fall, up 800 points, down 800 points. It can be very scary. A lot of people no longer gamble with their retirement in the stock market. If you are tired of the ride and want to look at safer options or would like to learn a better way to grow your money during these times,
call 800-FSG-7890. That's 800-FSG-7890. Or visit us online at yourfsg.com. Time now for more of the Retire-tastic Show with Joanne Regan, powered by the Retirement Income Store and brought to you by Financial Security Group of Arizona.
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. And if you just joined the show, I am so glad that you're here. And I want to remind you that you can always get caught up on this or any other episode of the Retire-tastic Show in our archives 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, by just going to yourfsg.com and click on the Retire-tastic Show tab. It's all there for you, and if you have questions, I always make time for my radio listeners, so definitely give me a call at 1-800-FSG-7890. Before the break, I was talking about the traditional rule of thumb for spending assets in retirement and how it's important to create a spend-down plan that actually works for you, that supports the goals that you have in your retirement. The canned approach may end up costing you hundreds of thousands of dollars if you don't think about it the right way. And let me give you an example. Chuck and Sally are 66 and 67 respectively. They have some retirement assets saved up, some they inherited. They have a 401k, some IRAs, a Roth account, and a beneficiary IRA that was inherited from Chuck's dad. Their Social Security is $35,000 a year, and the RMD or required minimum distribution from that beneficiary IRA is $5,000 a year. Don't forget about required minimum distributions on inherited IRAs. This is one of those big gotchas because a lot of people think that they don't have to take money out until they reach 72. Well, that is the case on your own IRA or your own 401k, but not a beneficiary IRA. You have to take the required minimum distribution, thanks to Uncle Sam, regardless of your age. So with Chuck and Sally and their Social Security being about $35,000 and their required minimum distribution of about $5,000, their current income needs are about $40,000. So one of the things that we looked at was trying to convert some of their IRAs and 401ks to a Roth. And we were able to do about $12,000. Again, because I'm an IRS enrolled agent and I do a lot of tax planning and tax efficient strategies, one of the things that I did look at was how much could we actually convert. And we were able to convert, like I said, that $12,000 in those early years without triggering tax on Social Security, and about $19,000 with very little impact on federal income tax. And in our plan, we wanted to do this until age 72. Why? Well, first of all, because it would lower the amount of their required minimum distributions. Let me tell you some of the benefits of a Roth IRA. Many people understand some of them, but there are really actually quite a few. When you put money into a Roth, yes, you're going to have to pay tax on the money that you put into the account. So it is an after-tax contribution. But here is where the good stuff actually starts happening. When you have gains or interest and dividends that are paid into that account, you don't have to pay tax on it. It's actually tax deferred. And most importantly, there is no required minimum distribution. So this helps you in retirement if you don't need additional income. Because remember, those required minimum distributions on IRAs or 401ks are required. and they have to be taken out. Why? So that Uncle Sam can get that income payment or the taxes that they feel they deserve. And quite frankly, with all of the extra debt that we're incurring right now, they really need those required minimum distributions. And just kind of as a side note, I do actually believe that taxes are going to go up, and the amount of your required minimum distribution is probably going to be raised. So if you can do some conversions right now and save you some money, that is not a bad strategy at all. So moving on. Next, when you take the money out, it's tax-free. You don't have to pay tax on any of those distributions from the Roth. And if you don't use the money in your lifetime, you can pass it on to the next generation tax-free. Those are great options and great benefits that may benefit a lot of you out there. But it is not for everyone, and you have to take the time to do it. You have to plan. Just like you're building that foundation and you're putting up the walls on your dream home, you have to do things in the right order. You have to take the drawings, the plans that put everything together, and every situation is actually just a little bit different. Because the example that I just gave was one couple that I met with, and you may not benefit nearly as much, or you might even benefit more. But if you set up an income plan using the beneficiary IRA first, like Chuck and Sally did, your IRA second, and maybe you take some of your non-qualified or non-IRA investments and invest in some tax-deferred investments that you don't have to pay tax on. And then you would use a Roth IRA for some point down the road. So there are a lot of different ways that you can benefit. The one that is going to be optimized or maximized for your retirement success is, again, going to depend on your specific and overall situation. So I actually want you to be very confident in your retirement or the financial strategy that you build. And that's why I put together my financial success kit, which includes a copy of Michael Eastman's book called Common Sense Income Strategies, plus 2 of my most popular reports, Reset Your Retirement and the Income Generation Report. And I've created this specifically to help you understand how to prepare for retirement, and I want you to have it absolutely free. And I'm offering it free to the first 5 callers who reach out to the show. My number is 1-800-FSG-7890. Again, that's 1-800-FSG-7890. And ask for that report. Ask for your free financial success kit, and I can get that out to you right away. If you have questions, I would love to help you gain that confidence. I have seen dozens and dozens and dozens of situations where doing a Roth conversion can save tens of thousands of dollars in taxes. But your situation is going to be very specific to your needs, the sources of income that you have, and your other accounts. So we want to really look at your situation and see how this can be done for you most effectively. So we're talking about strategies for retirement today, and I have a question for you. Is this what you want in retirement?
Just financial security and enjoy my family.
And are you hoping for this?
Having a good financial plan, make it financially able to do things that I enjoy, and God willing, you stay with your health.
I would venture a guess and say most everyone listening to this radio show wants the same: retirement security, a good plan, and good health. Unfortunately, for far too many Americans, this just isn't the case. According to the U.S. Bureau of Labor Statistics, year after year, the overwhelming majority of Americans are retiring at or below the poverty level. What this means is that there's better than a 50% chance that the current strategy for investments that you have may not be the one that you need in order to support your income needs in retirement. Again, like I have said so many times, if you are invested for growth, keep in mind that you are going to be forced to sell shares in order to generate cash flow or income. And those shares represent principal. If the market doesn't go up, if you need a 4% distribution from your IRA accounts and the market is not going up and you're invested in common stocks or mutual funds, then you're going to be liquidating principal in the early years of your retirement. And if the market goes down and it drops by 20 or 30%, then you are going to be liquidating more principal in those years, and that can be a cancerous strategy to your finances. However, if you invest for income, invest for the I, interest and dividends, this gives you access to income without being forced to cannibalize your principal. So you have to make sure that you have the right balance. Depending on your income allocation, you need to have control over the use of your principal. So you see, if you're generating enough interest and dividends to satisfy your income needs in retirement on top of your Social Security, or maybe you have a pension or something else, then you can push out the need to access principal until later in life. So realize it's not always a bad thing to use principal, but if you're forced to use your principal too early, then you may run out of money before you run out of life. And I'm not trying to create a doom and gloom thing here. I have just seen this happen so many times because people were using the wrong investments or taking principal or cannibalizing their principal way, way too early in their retirement. I mean, seriously, if you're 85 or 90 years old and you have to take some principal, well, that is not really so bad. Every situation is a little different, but all of this takes care. It takes planning to get it right. Just like that dream house we talked about earlier. If you jump into retirement without a plan, that could be a disaster, and I want you to avoid it. It is common sense to take some time to plan your vacation, right? You wouldn't just show up at the airport. No, you wouldn't. Just like you wouldn't want Home Depot to deliver a pallet of 2x4s and plywood and some concrete and start building your house. If you jump in without a plan, it's going to be a disaster. You also have to take into consideration some contingencies just in case. You might have bad weather along the way when you're building that house, or if you have custom windows in that house, it might take a longer lead time. You have to change your plans in real time, but you want to think about it in advance. You want to plan for contingencies in your retirement plan, just like in the time frame and the planning to build that dream home, because you never know what kind of surprises are going to await you. Folks, you have worked your entire life for your retirement, and hoping for the best is not a good plan. What is a good plan is having a strategy. So you may be wondering, how can you increase the confidence that your retirement strategy is going to be the one that supports your goals? Well, again, I'm just going to tell you about my Financial Success Kit, which includes a copy of Michael Eastman's book, Common Sense Income Strategies, plus 2 of my most popular commission reports, Reset Your Retirement and the Income Generation Report. And I've created these specifically to help you understand how to prepare for your retirement. And I want you to have it absolutely free. I'm giving it to the first 5 callers who reach out to the show at 1-800-FSG-7890. Again, that's 1-800-FSG-7890 and ask for the free Financial Success Kit so I can get that right out to you. There is so much more we can get to, but we're out of time for this week. And if you like what you're hearing, please tell a friend about me. My mission is to help as many folks as I can understand the time is now to reset your retirement to investing for income. In my opinion, only a retirement plan that's set up for generating income will give you the type of retirement you have worked so long and so hard for. My name is Joanne Regan. My goal is to help you have a fantastic retirement. So thanks for listening. I look forward to hearing from you, and I'll be back again next week at the same time.
That's all the time we have for today. To speak with Joanne off the air, call 800-FSG-7890. And for more information about our program, visit yourfsg.com. The Retire-tastic Show with Joanne Regan airs Saturday afternoons at 1 and Sunday mornings at 8:30. To speak with Joanne off the air, call 800-FSG-7890. That's 800-FSG-7890. Or visit us online at yourfsg.com.
Investment advisory services offered by FSG Financial Services, Inc., a registered investment advisory firm in the states of Arizona, Nevada, and California. Sound Income Strategies, LLC, an SEC-registered investment advisory firm, is a sub-advisor of FSG Financial Services, Inc. FSG Financial Services, Inc. and Sound Income Strategies, LLC are not associated entities. FSG is a franchisee of the Retirement Income Store. The Retirement Income Store and Sound Income Strategies, LLC are associated entities.